Okay, so when I'm done, this will be a blue tree and a purple tree and with very little color on the tree. So let's just say I just take this. But let's just say I came behind this tree and I want to be really, really strong. And I'm using my paint more out of my palette than I used to. And part of that's just to push my comfort level. So I might just take that down there like that and maybe on down through here. And then I just stand back and look at it and say, what, that's snow. Of course, we know snow's not white. We all know that.
That looks good.
So all that did right now is just pushed the tree up. That's all it did. And then I look in the back and I'll say, now these are my favorite colors you have to know is the turquoises. I should live in the Southwest. This turquoises and burnt sienna. I can't have a palette without burnt sienna. So then I go in here behind this and I do the same thing. And in here, and I don't know where that's going to go. And I've almost gotten so I don't care where it goes. I'm just going to wait and see. And then I'm going to drag that down into the tree. So that's how the tree gets some color. Just drag it into the tree so you don't have any real definition there. And again, when I'm done, my value will be stronger than that. To me, this was I don't know what you'd call it, like a 30% value when I started. And maybe I'm going to get up into a 50%. But when I'm done, it'll be really strong. I'm calling this a transition demo. This is going from somebody that's been very tight and very rigid, working my way into being loose. So let's just say I just went in here behind this with this, and we're not going to be real careful. Okay, now, if I take my brush and then I tickle it, and like I say on the Artistico, this is exactly what you want to do, is put it on strong and then tickle it. This is not going to act quite like that. But what I'll do here is, but you can move it around, you just tickle it. You know, and I'm just going to go in here like this because like I said, when you're doing a demo on it and your time constraints, you know, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but I'm going to leave this yellow, and I don't know what that yellow wants to look like. So I'm going to, and I'm using these are fairly strong colors, but as you can see, when you put it on paper, a lot of it goes away. And tomorrow morning is going to look really anemic if I'm not careful. So I'm not going to worry about it right now because this thing of going over, this is another thing I'm learning. If you're doing a wash, you know, you don't go back over it, right? I'm learning to get rid of that. And let me show you why. I'll show you why. Because I'm starting to like some of the things I get when I do this. And I'm going to tell you something else I figured out. And at some point, I want to tie this into I want to get a horizontal going here somewhere, so I'll just see if I can solve it. If I can't, I can't. Let me tell you what I do. On a wash, if you're not sure of your wash, if you have a cool wash on there and you're not real sure, then put on a warm color over it, really loose. Maybe that's not quite what you want. The next time, go back to cool. And I found when I started doing that, I started liking my backgrounds. The other thing I would do with her is drag some of this in here, get some of this color into her, like up into her hair and this sort of thing. You know, it just looks better, I think, and you can even do it on her face because her face is eventually going to have a little bit of color on it. And I just read an article when I was on vacation. I was up in Vancouver, and just many wonderful galleries. And it was a whole thing on grays. And I don't know, I don't just go buy a gray and drill that into me. So I don't go buy a gray. I mean, I mix my grays, but occasionally you can't get back to that gray. I don't know if you've ever had that happen. I love that. I wonder how in the world I did that. Well, this whole show was on grays and learning what was in that gray when you bought it. And that was really good for me because I don't think I really ever read my tubes. So if you pick that up, and I'll make this an exaggeration, if you picked up that gray and you look at it and it has alizarin crimson in it, and it has cerulean and so forth. Okay, and you put it on there. You really like it. Now you come along here with a color that doesn't go with those colors at all. When you're putting your paint on, think a little bit about how transparent it is. When I'm not sure where I'm going, I try to use the transparent watercolors first. And then I might go back if I really want, like I might really want to push, there's a little space here under her arm right in there. And I might, when I'm done, just, it might even be opaque because you're not even going to see something that disappears, you know, if it's too transparent. Or I'll take it straight out of the tube. But again, on the brushes, if you have a big, it just doesn't hang on to that paint long enough to move it. But if you're going to use it right out of the tube, be careful with a big paintbrush. Because now you've got a whole lot in there. And it'll go a long ways. But if I would have used a staining pigment with this, and it's still painting over here, you can see what happens. I can't, by the time I get back over here, I can't move that anymore. So I put that on there like that, and then I'm just going to tickle it like that. And I might say I want to run this up here like this. What happens if I come down here like this? If you really want it to run, you put more water around it like this. And then this is something I really like to do. And wherever you don't want it to go, like here I kept it dry so it doesn't go that way. So tickling, that's just all tickling is. Those are just tricks I'm sharing with you today because we don't have time for a whole thing. Be bold with your colors. Purple trees are nice. Turquoise trees are nice. Snow has a lot. Think of all the colors I have in that snow. Lots of colors in that snow. And by the way, put frames around things when you're working on them because
that's nice.
You don't like anything without a frame around it. And then also you might take a piece of it and say, I think maybe I like this piece over here. And I have these, they're all dirty old mats I work with, but I have some that are smaller. And if I'm not happy with how this is looking, before I discard it, I'll take a smaller mat and go around and say, well, you know what I really like? I really like that. Yeah. So this demo was all about playing, trying lots of things, lose your fear. What have you got to lose?
Thank you. Thank you.